What's up everyone, Lance Hedrick here. Today we're going to look at a really cool lever machine that's been around for a couple of years, but I just discovered it, and that is the Nomad. So my friend Brian Kwan has been using this a lot lately, and it got my interest piqued because, as you may have seen from my Sprover video, I really like Sprovers, and I really like manual lever machines, but most of them don't have a reservoir big enough for Sprovers. Like my Flare 58, for instance, it doesn't have a reservoir big enough to do a proper Sprover. So I saw this, and he kept referring to it as a portable Sprover machine, and I thought that was awesome. So reached out, and thankfully the people at Nomad were kind enough to send me one for free. So disclosure, this is for free. There was no asking of making a video or anything. I wanted to because I think this is really cool, and I'm a huge lover of Sprovers, and it's a very cheap way to get your Sprover on if that's something you want to do. Anyway, let's take a look at all of the features on this, because I know that a lot of you don't know what this is, haven't ever seen one before, so we're going to kind of go over what all of this is. So first of all, I know that you're looking at this seesaw and you're going, what is this? This is the lever, essentially. This is how you're going to produce pressure. So this pushes water up from the tank through the screen up here. And by going seesawing action, you're able to build pressure, okay? So these are little grooves right here for your fingers, so you can just pinch, 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 pinch. And it's going to pump the water up, and there's a little pressure gauge right here where you're able to see what pressure you're at. So the idea is to pump with your fingers to build that pressure, okay? We have here a cap for the water tank, all right? So the water comes in here, and shockingly, I measured how much I could fit in there going all the way to the brim. It goes up to around 330 grams or milliliters of water. Shocking. This little tyke can do about 330. So you can do a proper Sprover with that, no problem. All right, now, next up, we have this little latch system. What is this? You pull this up, okay? And this comes loose. Now this is our portafilter, all right? You can take this out. This is kind of the, I don't know, it's a tray, but I guess it acts kind of like a portafilter-ish. And this is the basket holder, I guess, which is also portafilter-ish. Anyway, so the basket can come out. It has a little gasket around it right here, but you have the basket right here, and then you have what's called a superfine mesh down here, which is like a further, I guess, filtration type thing to hold stuff back and to help build pressure. And then right here you have what he calls a true crema valve. Now this is super easily detachable. You just unscrew it, no problem. And you can also unscrew this with one of the mini Phillips head screwdrivers. So if we can get a zoomed in shot on that. You have that super fine mesh. And then down here you have the true crema valve. Now the idea with these in concert with one another is that if you're using pre-ground coffee, or if you're using unevenly ground coffee, or if you have a blade grinder and you're going through and, you know, shaking it, doing the James Hoffman way of grinding up more evenly with a blade grinder, this will produce some crema for you. So you can absolutely take it off, which I typically do because I don't need that extra pressure with the nice grinders I use, but it is an option for people to get that crema that they're wanting, even if you don't have ideal circumstances. Then you kind of just put this in here, and the exit for the espresso is right there, this little hole. So when I put it back in, you see there's just enough room to fit a Demitasse right there, all right? So that's kind of what we have on this machine. You've got this box that comes out when this lever is lifted. You have the seesaw effect to raise that pressure. You've got the lid for the water reservoir, which holds around 330 milliliters. And then the basket inside holds around, 15, 16, 17 grams. Now, with the Nomad, you're also going to get a second one with a little different volume. So you've got two portafilters, essentially. So, and they just easily exchange out. Boom, like so, okay? So there you go. Now, what I want you to watch, I'm gonna show you just here in a second. I'm gonna fill this up with some water. I'm gonna show you what it looks like for the water to come out of the screen, to show you how nice and even the distribution of water is coming out. So I'm gonna fill this up with some water. And this is gonna make a little mess, but it's fine. We're okay with messes. All right, so I just put some water in there. We don't need a ton. I'm gonna put the lid back on, okay? And we have a plate to because water's going to go everywhere. But I wanted to show you how this water is going to come out. So I'm going to push this down. And now watch right here. You ready? You see how that water's coming out so nicely and evenly, just showering in a really pretty distribution. So this is how we're building pressure, just by seesawing. Boom, 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 boom. Just like that. All right. Now I'm going to clean everything up. And we're back. So I will say one of my complaints on this is just the distance from the spout to the bottom. If you're wanting to just put it on a level table, it's very difficult to fit your cup and then an Acaia Lunar. I say very difficult. It's impossible to fit them underneath because there's not enough clearance, which is, you know, not the worst thing in the world, because you can just get to a point where you know how much water your puck's going to absorb and weigh the water out that you're putting in the reservoir and just hope you can get all of it out. But that's, you know, obviously not ideal. But, you know, this is called Nomad because originally it was to be a traveling type of espresso maker. And, you know, when you're traveling, you probably don't have a scale anyway. You're just going to kind of toss water in, toss coffee in, tamp it, and go. So I can see why it's built like this. It's not, I guess it's not really made for what I'm wanting to use it for, which is a lot of Sprovers. In any event, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull, you know, just kind of eyeball a shot of espresso for you all, like a classic style that has a lot of crema, to show you what it's capable of, and then I'm going to pull a Sprover with it, which I'm really excited to show you, because this is like the ideal Sprover little machine. You just kettle, boil some water, toss it in, toss some, you know, somewhat coarsely ground espresso grind course into the basket, tamp, and go, and you're going to have a nice cup of Sprover within, you know, minutes. Really nice option, especially since a lot of espresso machines don't have the capability of having control over the pressure and flow. So you're able to get that coffee without having to invest in some sort of expensive espresso machine. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to get this all set up. Hand motions. All right, so I've got the coffee ground. I've got I WDT'd, tamped it, good to go. I'm gonna toss it in here. Gotta open that lever up, toss it in there. Now I'm gonna take this off, add my boiling water right into the reservoir, like so. I'm not gonna fill it up all the way because, you know, I'm just gonna do a classic espresso here. I didn't dial on the grind either because, you know, don't really have to with a lever. I mean, obviously this is not going to taste the best, but I'm just trying to show you kind of what this is capable of. And so now I'm going to start, and what they what they recommend is doing 10 to 12 pumps and allowing the bed to kind of saturate and hold off for a few seconds. So I'll go ahead and do that. So I'm going to pump it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to let it kind of sit as that puck is saturating with that hot water that I just put in it. Now that we have it pretty saturated, I'm going to let it sit a little longer, kind of like a blooming type phase. Now I'm going to really start to build the pressure, and here we go. So I'm just going side to side, building pressure. We're at 2, I'm at 6, I'm at 10 bar. And I'm just going to kind of sit here for a bit. I'm sitting at 9 bar, sitting at 9 bar. You see how I'm just kind of going side to side seesawing, and I'm just maintaining it. Now I'm just going to slow down as I'm gaining volume. I'm at 6 bar. I love these declining kind of profiles, going down to 5 bar, 4 bar, just barely going down to 3 bar. All right, and then I'm just going to let it kind of chill. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to switch out the cup since I want the extraction done. Whoops, missed a little bit. But here you go, take a look at that crema. I'm going to lift this up to really stop it. There we go. All right, so here we are. We have this, and I'm just going to kind of like show that nice crema dissipating as we stir it up. A very nice shot of espresso. Granted, I don't really know what the yield was. I'm doing it based off of the look of the volume. So not super scientific, but you know, when you're traveling around, does the job. Actually pulled really well. I'm also pulling Vulcan Azul right now, which is fantastic. Okay. So now that you've seen what it kind of looks like, where that crema is kind of nice, looking good, I'm going to do this again with a Sprover. I'm going to remove the true crema valve, just because I don't need that little extra pressure. I don't need to get crema on the Sprover. So I'm going to remove that real quick, and we're going to coarsen the grind, do a Sprover, which is going to be, I'm probably going to do somewhere around 15 in, maybe 100 and, maybe around 150 out. Of course, I got to eyeball it, but I'm going to use a bigger cup, and I know that the this full is about 200 milliliters. So I'm going to look until it's about, you know, I don't know, about yay full. So, you know, because I can't fit a scale under there, it's a lot of kind of guesswork. So anyway, here we go. All right, so I put 14 grams of a little bit more coarsely ground coffee into here. Now, I do want to point out, it's kind of a bee to get the grounds in there and tamp it, just because it's not like a normal portafilter. Can't really fit a collar around it. Maybe someone can 3D print a collar for this. That would actually be super helpful. If someone does, or someone has one, put it in a comment below and I'll put it in the caption. If you check the caption, it's not there, it's because there hasn't been a comment for it. Anyway, so I've made it more coarsely ground. I was on a 3, I just went up to a 6, and there's only 20 options on here, so that's a pretty big jump. But for a Sprover, so I'm gonna do 14 in, I'm gonna try to get around 140 out. So I'm gonna just eyeball it to about right here. So anyway, so I'm gonna put that there, gonna toss this in here, lock it in. I have the water a little lower temperature, because with Sprovers, you don't want them super high temp. On the earlier shot, I did have it at boiling. Now I'm trying to do it closer to 200. I usually go even lower than that, but I didn't think about it until too late, and it was already at boiling, so anyway. All right, so yeah, around 90, I don't know, 93 Celsius or so. All right, so here we go. I have it loaded. I've got my water in there, and now we're just going to pump, and I'm going to try to keep it at around, you know, a low number, maybe like 1 or 2 bar of pressure. So here we go. So I'm just shy of 1 bar. I'm just letting it flow right around there. All right, just seesawing slowly, keeping it low, and then there we go. And then to stop it, I'm just gonna lift this, stops the drip, and there we go. And we have a nice little Sprover. It's not perfectly dialed in, obviously, but let me put a cup under here to catch any drips that might happen. All right, so now we have a little bit of crema, but for the most part, we got a Sprover or a coffee shot, something like that going on. Since I can't really tell flow rate, since I don't have a Bluetooth scale under it, I did kind of eyeball it. But anyway, here's this. I'm gonna take a little stir, dissipate some of that crema, get it a little cooler. But we got a cup of essentially like filter coffee here. All right, so let's see what this yield was. This is gonna make a spill. We're not gonna get a great transfer here. These cups don't weigh the same, or I would just place this on there. So we're gonna, okay, spilled a little, maybe a couple grams. So it says 131.4. I'm gonna take a little sample. These things always get so, there we go. All right, not much of a sample. Set there, let it cool a bit. Boom. All right, so let's just take a little. Whoa. Every time I have a Sprover or a coffee shot or something, I always get so blown away by the mouthfeel, the sweetness, the vibrancy. My mouth is watering. I'm about to. That's very good. That's very, very good. Anyway, we're gonna let this cool for a sec. I'm not filtering it, just FYI, but I did zero this just before coming to the studio. Gotta let that cool. And when I clap, we're gonna be cooled. All right, so I'm now refracting. I have my Atago Magic on there to displace the sample, so I have less samples, so less particulates are in it. But let's see what this is gonna read at. The TDS is about 2.3. I'm gonna see if it's stabilized. Let's see. Yep. All right. All right. So that is about a 21.5% extraction, which is really nice for this type of shot. Like, I mean, 23.5%. About 2.5 TDS or so. Really drinkable drink. You can dilute it if you'd like for a lower TDS, but I mean, we're close to 22% on the extraction, which is a really nice extraction. And that was not dialing in. I just kind of guessed on a grind size, put it in, and Sprovered. Anyway, all right, enough nerdery. Very good. So that's the Nomad. I think it's a really neat essentially, like I said, a Sprover machine, but you can use it for a normal espresso, take it anywhere you want. Yeah, if you have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to ask below. I'm really stoked on this right now. I'll be using it a lot, I'm sure, especially for these Sprovers, because that was really easy and really easy to control. I think it's honestly probably more easy to control than a lever, because you're just bouncing your thumbs and building that pressure. The way that this is manufactured, it's super easy. Anyway, thanks so much for watching yet again. Please comment below your thoughts on this, any questions you might have. You know, hit the like, subscribe, whatever it might be. All of that really helps. The better the like ratio I have, the more my videos will be able to have longevity and to be watched over a long haul, which all of that really helps my channel grow and to really assist me in purchasing more things for the show. Having people want to send me things like Nomad so graciously sent me this. It all just helps me create more content for you all. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, check the Patreon out in the caption. I always forget all the stuff I'm supposed to like obligatorily say at the end of this, but I hope that was everything. Even if it's not, hope you have a great day, and cheers.